just to recap this, and then I want to bring in our guest. New Jersey, the lawyers are challenging the constitutionality of the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. And this was implemented in 1992, made gambling on pro and collegiate athletics illegal in all but Nevada, Delaware, Montana, and Oregon. So those 4 states had legalized sports gambling at the time, so they were grandfathered in. New Jersey is arguing the interpretations of the 10th Amendment will make it illegal for the federal government to force certain states to adhere to regulations while exempting others. So that's the situation that we have. Daniel Wallach is a gaming and sports attorney, kind enough to join us on short notice. Daniel, thanks. Good morning. Why the delay by the Supreme Court? We thought maybe there was going to be a ruling tomorrow or yesterday.
Well, just like any fine wine, no wine before its time. The Supreme Court has a number of cases under consideration, and this case was only argued 3 months ago. I think many people jumped the gun yesterday in anticipating a ruling, but the average time frame for a decision from the date of oral argument, and the argument was in early December, is 3+ months. But we're going to get a divided ruling from the Supreme Court. I was in the courtroom that day, and I could tell that there were some judges on both sides of the issue, and I would expect dissenting opinions, concurring opinions, and we're talking about an important question of constitutional law. So I believe that this one is going to take a little longer than average, and we could be looking at April, May, and potentially the last week of June. So this is not out of the ordinary. It would have been a surprise to me had the court reached its ruling at the 3-month mark.
Best guess what happens?
Most likely scenario is the court will declare this federal law to be unconstitutional because it violates states' rights under the 10th Amendment. Most of the justices that day seemed to be skeptical that Congress had the ability to tell states how to regulate its own citizens unless Congress sets forth its own regulatory scheme. And that didn't happen here with PASPA. PASPA is just an outright prohibition, and a number of the justices were skeptical that that kind of a law would pass muster under the 10th Amendment. So I would expect this federal law to become invalidated as a result of the court's opinion, whether it's April, May, or June. When that happens, there are at least a dozen states that already have bills introduced in their legislative sessions to legalize sports betting. So the way I see this playing out is we could have legal sports betting in as many as 10 to 12 states by the beginning of the 2018 NFL season. However, there is also a possibility that the court could side with New Jersey and find that New Jersey's attempt to legalize sports betting does not violate PASPA and otherwise leave PASPA intact as a good law. So there are 2 possible outcomes in which New Jersey could win. If it's unconstitutional, every state that wants sports betting can have it. If New Jersey wins on these narrow statutory grounds, it's likely that New Jersey will have a monopoly for the time being, and then the issue will get punted over to Congress.
Daniel, thank you for joining us. We'll check in with you no matter what the verdict is.
My pleasure, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
That's Daniel Wallach. He's a gaming and sports attorney. He's co-host of a podcast called Conduct Detrimental.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.